Okay, Kara's our teacher assistant today. What are we going to be focusing on today during EL? Oh, here you microphones.
I can determine the main ideas and supporting details of the text read aloud. I can explain the function of pronouns. I can use the text to answer questions about page 6 through 7 of One Well.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and dissect these a bit. I can determine the main ideas and supporting details. That's the first part of our lesson today. We have very full day. Who can remind me what main idea means? What is the main idea? Yeah, Maximus. The moral, I think maybe you're thinking theme or lesson.
It means
The main idea.
the main thing that you're focused on in the story.
Okay.
Like in One Well, you're focused on the well that is like on the pictures, the same well.
All right. Do you want to add on, Ellie? What does it mean when you determine the main idea of a story, any story?
The main idea means it's what the whole entire book is about.
With every detail? So gist is similar to main idea, isn't it? But usually you can get the gist quickly. You haven't read the whole thing. You're starting to get the gist of what it's going to be about. But when it's the main idea, Ellie, can you pass the microphone? Let's hear some more ideas. It's on our academic wall there.
The main point, what the story is mainly about.
Mainly about? What's another word we can use? Mostly about. So we're going to be determining the main ideas. And notice it has an S on the end. What does that mean? Kara, what does that mean?
It means that there's more than one.
You can have more than one, right? In many stories. We're going to pick the one that stands out to you the most that has the supporting details to support it. Because if you can't find the details, Sandra, then it's probably not the main idea. It's probably a detail. Do you remember when we did this last week with One Well and we had to revise? Yeah, we might have to do that again today, and that's okay because we're still practicing that learning target. So the supporting details, who can talk about supporting details? Continue.
Supporting details is like you say, let's say this paragraph is about how there's many animals in the ocean. I'm just picking random, and they would ask you what are some supporting details. You could say that it says in the book that there are many animals in the ocean. It's like supporting what you said. It's details that support it. That what you said.
Remember the picture we drew, and I told you a story about, I think it was Avery's lacrosse game?
Yeah, table.
Yeah, the table. I like that. The main ideas here, what is it mainly about overall? And then the legs are your details. They hold it up. They support it. I can't remember. My story was, do you remember Avery had a lacrosse game? That was what it means. Yeah, so there's a lot of details about the game, but the main idea of my story was that Avery had a lacrosse game, right? They ended up winning, which was a detail. It was cold on the bleachers. He had, I don't know if you call it a penalty. I'm still learning lacrosse.
Penalty.
But all of those details supported the fact that he had a game over the weekend. That's what I spent part of my time doing. All right, I think we're going to stop actually because we have such a packed lesson. Let's just focus on that learning target and then we will move on. Thank you, Kara. We are going to be listening today, just like last week, and practicing our main idea. We're going to use listening comprehension. You're going to need a note catcher on page 8 of your EL book. So go ahead and turn to page 8. Everybody should have that in their desk. If you're not sure what that looks like, right up here. Andre, yours is right on your desk. It actually says text-dependent questions because we're going to do that as part of our day today. But the first page on page 8 is the same note catcher we've been using since we started this module in Unit 1. You'll notice you have a place for your main idea or ideas, and you have a place for your supporting details that you will be taking notes as I read. Because this is listening comprehension, you're going to be listening and taking notes on your note catcher without looking at the text. I will read the text 3 times. We will have some discussion with our elbow partner. So we all know who our elbow partner is. We'll do some thinking and pair sharing with that person. So today we're going to read Of One Well, pages 6 through 7. And as I'm reading, you're thinking about what is the main idea. And we will talk a little bit about gist as well. So I'm glad Adley brought that up. So I'm on pages 6 through 7. So listen carefully. If you want to start taking your notes right away, you can. We'll have time to revise, so don't worry. The water in the well. We live on a watery planet. Almost 70% of Earth's surface is covered with water. This surface water is found in oceans, lakes, rivers, streams, marshes, even in puddles and the morning dew. There is so much water that if you look down at Earth from space, it would appear blue. But there is also water we can't see beneath the Earth's surface. This groundwater can be found just about everywhere. It fills the cracks in rocks and the spaces between rocks, grains of sand and soil. Most groundwater is close to the Earth's surface, but some of it is buried quite deep. Water is also frozen in glaciers and polar ice caps. And there is water in the atmosphere. Every one of these water sources feeds Earth's one well. Where is the water on Earth? Oceans, 97.23%. Ice caps and glaciers, 2.14%. Groundwater, 0.61%. Freshwater lakes, 0.009%. Inland saltwater seas, 0.008%. Moisture in the soil, 0.005%. Water in the atmosphere, 0.001%. Rivers, 0.0001%. Yes, there is more water in the atmosphere and soil than in all of Earth's rivers. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I'm going to give you time to think, and then we will pair share. My first question for you is, what is the gist of these pages? Just think, I want to time you. Don't start talking yet. What is the gist? That's what Adley was saying. Like, what is it about? What is it mostly about? It's very similar to main idea. What's the gist? But we don't have to support it yet, right? With our detail. Okay, go ahead and share with your elbow partner. Share with your elbow partner. What is the gist of these 2 pages? Show me on your fingers if you need 1 minute or 0 minutes. Okay. Make sure you're not writing at this time. This is not the writing time, right? So put pencils down. Look at your partner, your elbow partner. If you did not have a chance to share, please take your turn now. But pencils should be down. Okay. All right, I'm going to pull out of the can. I want to just hear. Actually, I heard some really interesting things from Dylan and Max. Do you guys, would you be willing to share?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, okay, Dylan, will you share? What did you think the gist of pages 6 through 7
It's about
was?
how there's water in the earth above, like below the surface, and 70% of the world is water.
Okay.
And
So just the gist. Don't need to give a lot of details. I can see you want to because it's exciting, isn't it? Kara, did you want to add on?
I wanted to say that I thought the gist was a little bit of how water is all connected and how it's like mostly the whole earth is surrounded by water, mostly, not all of it.
Okay. Excellent. Let's go ahead now and think about this question. What surprised you in these pages? Because when I read them for the first time, I was surprised, and I'm a lot older than you. So what was surprising? There's some new information maybe for you. Just think, and then we'll share with our partners, do a pair share. What surprised you in these pages? She's got to be close. Okay, I'm video. Okay, go ahead and share with your elbow partner. Take turns.
Only 0.001% of Earth's water is
I think it's 0. All right. I asked this pair to share because they both had different things that surprised them. And then I'll pull a couple more out. So the question was, what surprised you about these 2 pages? Go ahead.
What surprised me was that there was only, I think it was 0.0001% of Earth's water was rivers.
I did not know that till I read this. I was shocked as well. That's the least, right? Of all the places on Earth that had water, it was 0.0001. Yeah, percent was in the rivers. That was surprising. Raise your hand or give a thumbs up if you agreed with that. That's what surprised you as well. Quite a few of us. But then Adley had a different surprise. Do you want to share what yours was?
what I had surprised was that how water is also in the atmosphere, and how I think is the atmosphere water and nether water combined together is more than all the river water connected.
Yes, I agree with that. I think because we're in such a dry climate, if you lived in Florida, you would not be surprised that there's water in the atmosphere because you can feel it. It's called, does anyone know what it's called? Yeah, humidity. We don't have a lot of humidity in Colorado. We have some, and you'll see that on the weather when you watch the weather report. But we're not used to that, and that is a little surprising because you can't see it too, right? So humidity is an interesting thing. All right, last question for you. What are the main ideas in the text? What are the main ideas in the text? We're just going to think. And I bet a lot of you don't need as much time for that. You might have more than one. Start thinking. All right. Share with your partner. Okay, we're going to stop, and a hush fell over the crowd. So I saw some of you have already written it. If you did not get a chance to write what you think the main idea is as of now after one reading, go ahead and write that. I'm going to read it a second time. As I looked at some of your writing, I would say you might want to revise thinking about what is it mostly about. Do you have a detail as your main idea? Just because something might be surprising doesn't mean that that's what the whole text is about. So I want you to think, you get 2 more readings. Focus on supporting details this time for one of your main ideas. If you can't find supporting details for your main idea, then it's probably a what? A detail. All right, listening comprehension. The water in the well. We live on a watery planet. Almost 70% of Earth's surface is covered with water. This surface water is found in oceans, lakes, rivers, streams, marshes, even in puddles and the morning dew. There is so much water that if you look down at Earth from space, it would appear blue. But there is also water we can't see beneath the Earth's surface. This groundwater can be found just about everywhere. It fills the cracks in rocks and the spaces between rocks, grains of sand, and soil. Most groundwater is close to the Earth's surface, but some of it is buried quite deep. Water is also frozen in glaciers and polar ice caps, and there is water on the atmosphere. Every one of these water sources feeds Earth's one well. Where is the water on Earth? Oceans, 97.23%. Ice caps and glaciers, 2.14% or 14%. Groundwater, 0.61%. Freshwater lakes, 0.009%. Inland saltwater seas, 0.008%. Moisture in the soil, 0.005%. Water in the atmosphere, 0.001%. Rivers, 0.0001%. Yes, there is more water in the atmosphere and soil than in all of Earth's rivers. So now you are writing down your supporting details. If you feel like you can't find any supporting details, you would probably need to revise your main idea. If you have more than one main idea, pick one that you heard the most supporting details for. Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. We're going to do a think, pair, share. Did the details you found support your main idea? Or do you need to rethink your main idea? The question again is, did your details support your main idea? Or did you need to rethink your main idea? I want you to share with your partner. You're going to think for about 10 seconds here. You probably already know the answer. All right, go ahead and share with your elbow partner. Take turns.
Cups of coffee and everything.
So be careful here because what you Okay, I still see some of us getting confused with our details and our main idea. So good news. We're going to read it one more time. Here's what I want you to think about. Read what your main idea states. Is that really what the whole thing is about, or is that just a section? Is it what it's mainly about? Or is it a detail? Is it one of the legs on the table? Or is it what the whole text is mostly about? All right, your last reading. This is your last chance to revise and edit, and then we'll share out. The water in the well. We live on a watery planet. Almost 70% of Earth's surface is covered with water. This surface water is found in oceans, lakes, rivers, streams, marshes, even in puddles and the morning dew. There is so much water that if you look down at Earth from space, it would appear blue. But there's also water we can't see beneath the Earth's surface. This groundwater can be found just about everywhere. It fills the cracks in rocks and the spaces between rocks, grains of sand and soil. Most groundwater is close to the Earth's surface, but some of it is buried quite deep. Water is also frozen in glaciers and polar ice caps. And there is water in the atmosphere. Every one of these water sources feeds Earth's one well. Where is the water on Earth? Oceans, 97.23%. Ice caps and glaciers, 2.14%. Groundwater, 0.61%. Freshwater lakes, 0.009%. Inland saltwater seas, 0.008%. Moisture in the soil, 0.005%. Water in the atmosphere, 0.001%. Rivers, 0.0001%. Yes, there is more water in the atmosphere and soil than in all of Earth's rivers. Okay, go ahead. Revise your note catcher if needed. I'm going to be pulling out of the can to see what you determined, going back to our learning target, what the main idea and your supporting details. Let's see, some of you are still writing. Adley, would you be willing to share? Are you ready, or do you want me to come back to you? Come back to you? Okay, Lucian, I pulled your name. Just read what you have. Let's hear it, and we'll talk about it.
So my main idea is Earth is 70% water and 30% land.
Okay, so you think overall it's about how much water and land we have on Earth? Okay, what are your details to support that?
Water in the atmosphere for 70% water, ocean 97.23%, and rivers 0.0001%.
So it's hard to get those percents when you can't see it. So I'm pretty impressed that you were able to capture those
I
details.
just think the groundwater, I didn't catch it in time.
Okay, let's hear what Adley has to say. Adley, what did you think the main idea and supporting details were?
My main idea is talking about water and where it is and how much water is in all the is in all water sources and how in the atmosphere and 70% is in the earth. And there is more atmosphere water.
So I think you have the main idea in there surrounded by some details.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah. I just wanted to make it with some details so it's kind of more detailed.
But you still get to use your details. You just need to separate your details from your main idea. Do you guys get that? Yeah? All right. I'm going to pull one more, but you're on it. You have it. You just have to pull some of those details out. The main idea shouldn't be that long. Okay. Enzo's not back yet. Okay. Jane. Let's pass the microphone to Jane.
My main idea is how or where the water is mainly on Earth, and my supporting detail was there is so much water on Earth.
Okay. I think that sounds very similar to your main idea. So I think maybe you and Adley, if you had worked together, you would have more of the main idea and she has some of the details and you could have the whole table, right? Once I think you are right. There is a lot of water on Earth. But did you hear anything else about just like where is that water? Did you hear anything that you could support that there's a lot of water on Earth by where it is?
It's mainly like in oceans or rivers or underground.
Could you add those details to support your main idea? Here's an example of a main idea and supporting details that really shows what it's mostly about and how we can support that. Yeah, there we go. So here's one way of stating the main idea. It's not the only. There is a lot of water on Earth that we can see and that we can't see. I don't know that at your age I understood that there was a lot of water underneath the ground. I think as an 8-year-old or 9-year-old, I probably thought, oh, it's only where you can see it. So this might be new information to you. But they talked a lot about that. There were a lot of details that supported that there's some water that we can't see also. And that there's a lot of water on Earth that we can see and that we can't see. So that's mainly what that text was about. Here's some details that support it. Almost 70% of Earth's surface is covered with water. So if you said that was your main idea, it's really a what? It's really a detail, right? It supports that there's a lot of water on Earth that we can see and not see. There's 70% of it is of Earth's surface is covered with water. There, if you can support that, then you could turn it into your main idea. Thank you. Another detail, there is so much water that if you looked down at Earth from space, it would appear blue. Does that support the fact that there's a lot of water? Yeah. But there is also water we can't see beneath the Earth's surface. Some of you gave other details. Those are fine. You don't need to change those. But if your main idea is not about the fact that there's a lot of water on Earth, then you probably want to revise that. If you just said there's water, like I saw some people put as their main idea, there's water in the atmosphere.
That's not the main idea.
That's a detail. There is, but is that what the whole text was about? Not the whole thing. It is a detail to support that we do have a lot of water on Earth. Okay, so back to our first learning target. I want us to check for understanding. We're going to use the red light, green light, yellow light protocol. The first learning target was to determine the main ideas and supporting details of a text. So think about how you did on your note catcher and in your mind. How would you self-assess against that learning target? I can determine, and I have it written here, the main ideas and supporting details of a text read aloud. So it's different, Ellie, because you're not reading it, are you? It's listening comprehension. You can't see the text. That makes it a little more difficult. You have to really be tuned in. So show me with your cube. If you are feeling great about it, I would see green. If you are getting there, you maybe got a little confused between supporting details and main idea, you give me a yellow. If you don't know what main idea or supporting details are, and you think, Mrs. Simon, what are you talking about? I should see a red light. Okay, this is good for me to see. We will continue to work on that. Did anyone want to speak to their confusion if you're yellow? Would anyone be willing to share? Kara?
I'm yellow. I choose yellow. I choose yellow because I got a little mixed up on the main idea and the supporting details.
So what do you think you can do differently next time to help you with that?
Maybe I could listen a little more.
Okay.
And
did you take notes during the reading?
I did.
Sometimes taking those notes and then seeing how they all have a theme. Like, oh, this is about water on the earth. This is about water on the earth. Oh, this is also about the water on the earth. Oh, we got a lot of water on earth. You can find that in that way. Jane? Thank you for being brave. If you are yellow, it just helps me to know where you're confused for our next lesson.
I'm yellow because I thought I kind of got confused of like the supporting details notes and the supporting details because like it's hard to like say like they both include notes and I was confused about that.
So are you clear now?
Yeah.
Do you think it would have helped if you were reading it yourself? Okay, since we don't have time for everyone to share, go ahead and put your cubes back. I'm going to ask my paper deliverer to collect, and then we'll move on to the next learning target. Paper deliverer is Josh, so can I have Colin since he's not here? Will you collect the cubes?